All right, when this trailer first came out, everyone was saying this is going to be the number one anime movie of the year. This is going to win the Oscar. Does this 3D 4DX experience deserve the Oscar? Let's find out. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon, reviewing the Wild Robot 3D 4DX. What's this about? Pretty simple premise. A robot goes to the wrong location, is now on this island with a bunch of animals, and now finds this geese because the robot does something bad accidentally. Now he's got to raise this geese, even though the geese is a runt, if you want to put it that way, to make sure it can fly with the other geese at the same time. This corporation wants their robot back. So, did I like this film? Absolutely. But let's talk about the 3D and 4DX first. The 3D effects were pretty good. I mean, there was a lot of pop-out effects. There was a lot of depth effects. There was a lot going on in this movie. Like, there was not a lot of stationary moments in this film. So, everything was fast-paced, moving at a split second, and you felt being in this world. Did it help that the animation style did have that like cell shade look? Absolutely. So I think if you want a 3D experience, this is for you. For a 4D experience, again, I think it's for you. When we're talking about kids though, because there's a decent amount of kids in this movie theater, I think most of them enjoyed it. Some of it was a little bit intense for them, especially very beginning where the robot does not know what it's doing. Especially you can't talk to the animals. It is like rolling down mountains. It is moving left, right, up, down, shaky cam galore with the seats. With this smell effects, I didn't remember any smell effects. Good amount of smoke bubble effects as well, because there are a couple, of course, snow and water, effects as well. So you're going to get that, immersive experience. So I think if your kid likes mini roller coasters and wants to see this in 3D 4DX, I highly recommend it. For the viewing experience for the kids, let's kind of go into that route. There is some elements to this movie that might be a little bit too much for them. I don't know who is behind me. I couldn't tell you the age, but multiple people were like, not just like crying, they were bawling. I mean, I'm like, oh, I doubt it was an adult, but there were elements of just, emotional rampage, if you want to put it that way, like emotional damage to a couple of these kids. So I would just make sure. I think it's a thing as well, because if I get kids from like 3 to 7, they're really not going to understand it. I think it's the 7 to 11 crowd, then a little bit higher, that might see the emotional aspect of being the mother, and that is the core theme of this movie, is motherhood, parenthood, and understanding what you think you know and what you don't know in this situation, because having a kid is a brand new experience for everyone, and they got to figure it out kind of on their own, because each kid is different in their own aspect. But as a movie going experience, I highly recommend this movie. The animation is just gorgeous. If I'm just talking about the look of a movie, and to me, the top 3 animated features this year, Inside Out 2, you have Transformers 1, and you have Wild Robot. Wild Robot's look takes the cake by a mile. I mean, it's not even freaking close. It is that good. And yes, as a Disney fanboy, not DreamWorks, you've knocked it out of the park with the look of this movie. Chris Sanders, if not mistaken, he also directed the first How to Train Your Dragon. And to me, How to Train Your Dragon should have won the Oscar as well, if I don't, for the director-wise. But How to Train Your Dragon is probably one of the best animated movies to me ever created. It is that good in my opinion. Voice acting is pretty good as well. Everyone involved. I'm not going to pronounce their names. I know it's Pedro, Pascal. I know it's Mark Hamill. I know Catherine O'Hara. I know it's the girl from The Quiet Place, the new one, Lupe. I'm horrible with names. Absolutely god awful with names. But you know what I'm saying. Voice acting, pretty damn good. Humor. The first 30 minutes, there's some adult humor where you're just like, oh, like some really adult humor, especially with these possums. And you're thinking, oh, we're going there. Like, there is some dark stuff in this movie. And you're just like, ooh, I wonder if the kids really understood that joke. And there also kids understood some other smaller jokes in this movie, especially with the fox, Pedro Pascal's character. With the story itself, there is good heart, a good message about who you are, what you should do, and are you a good enough creature or person to do what you say you're going to do. Because there are tasks, right? The whole point is this robot is for task A, B, C, and I'm here for just that reason. But is there more to a person than just completing tasks as well in the real world? Yes, people go to the job. They do the 9 to 5. Well, it's not really 9 to 5 anymore. It's like 8 to 5. And when they're done, what do they do to enhance the world? I think that's what it's also talking about as well as, even though this might not be your task and it's not the fulfilling thing you want to do, if you do this task and you help other people, you're making the world a better place. Even though you might disagree with other people, try to get along in these certain situations. And I do think it's funny that there are some actors that voice this and they're complete polar opposite of like, yeah, we should do that. But then you have like, Mark Hamill, what he promotes and things like that, where kind of nasty stuff. But when it comes to this movie, the voice acting's fantastic. The editing's fantastic. The look of the movie's fantastic. The voice acting's fantastic. You could say some negatives is, you could say it's a little heavy-handed for the kids if you want to take your kids to this. But if you want a fantastic DreamWorks movie with the right messaging, the right animation, the right 3D effects, the right 4DX effects, I mean, you really can't go wrong with The Wild Robot. And this might be one of the first movies or years that I have 2 animated features in my top 10. Because I won't lie, I'm not feeling this year a lot. So The Wild Robot will receive a 4.5 out of 5 with Futons, which equals at 90%. So let's see the critics and user scores gave this one. Critics and user scores at both a 98%. We have a 126 critics and over 500 audience score. Critic consensus: a simple tale told with great sophistication. The Wild Robot is wondrous entertainment that dazzles the eyes while filling your heart to the brim. Wow. They actually have an audience say as well. I'm not going to read that because I feel like with over 500 plus, you got to be consistent. Be consistent. Anyway, 98 and 90. Chase Doc here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Other things, Blue Futontopia. You Blue Futontopia, stay watching. Great down. Come on, just take tomorrow, week from month, or a year from every single freaking one of you. And let's keep going because I have a butt ton of movies to watch this weekend.